Finished last year 23-9. Dave Shondell, in his 22nd season, finished 23-9, tied for third in the Big Ten Conference, and made a good run in the postseason, made it to the Sweet 16. Lourdes Meyers, to his right, senior middle blocker. She led the team in attack percentage last year at .333. And on the end, Chloe Chicoine, sophomore outside hitter, unanimous All Big Ten freshman team, and as a freshman, first team All Big Ten. Dave, I'll let you open up with a statement.
Thanks, Larry. Thanks to all of you for being here. We're cautiously optimistic going into this 2024 season. We were probably a little better than expected a year ago with a very young team and learned a lot as the season went on. Very proud to be here with Lourdes and Chloe, who are two really, really key people on our team, but we've got a whole bunch of them that we're excited about. You know, going into the season, I'm a little concerned because the league is going to be so good. But I trust our team so much. I got a chance to spend a lot of time with them in Europe on our spring trip that we took over their foreign trip, and they just got better every day. And so I think they feel good about who they are, and the league is going to be really, really good. But I think if we continue to compete the way that we have, this group has for the last year, then we'll have our shot at having another really good season.
Okay, just a reminder, we have Ella and Callie with microphones, so please state your name and affiliation. If you have a question, let's go to Alana in the back.
Alana Goldman of 5 Wins. I wanted to hear about the potential atmosphere in Mackey and how that'll be an adjustment from playing in the intimacy of Holloway.
I think we, as a team, thrive in big environments like that, so I think we're super excited and we're ready and, yeah, super happy to play in Mackey this year.
Yeah, Purdue's fan base is just insane. Like, if you watch football, basketball, women's basketball, obviously volleyball, everybody comes out and has a great time. So I think it's really neat that we get the opportunity to finally play in Mackey, and we have something called the Paint Crew that can combine with our boiler block, and it'll be a really fun experience.
Aaron Ferguson, Wisconsin State Journal. Dave, with the House settlement regarding revenue sharing coming down the line at some point, and I know details are still being worked out, but how does that change kind of your point of view and how you manage your program going forward?
Not enough information, unfortunately. You know, I've been in a lot of conversations with our administration about that. They don't have answers yet, so to answer that question would be a real challenge for me. I think that being in the Big Ten, you're in a better position than a lot of conferences are for that. I know our administration is convinced that we're going to be able to provide the funding that is going to be the cap, and so I'm excited about that. How gender equity comes into play is something that has not been determined, but I do believe being at Purdue in the Big Ten is a good place to be when that does start to happen. Thank you.
Lincoln Arneal, Huskers Illustrated. Dave, we heard the players talk about the excitement of playing in the big gym, but that's also an NBC broadcast. How excited are you about that opportunity to have a network game at home?
I'm just pleased that we're at a point right now that we're being considered for those things in a league full of teams that have unbelievable traditions. And we've worked hard over the course of time to get to this point. We have some exciting players. If we didn't have the players we have, we wouldn't be on NBC. We wouldn't have 12 or 13 games on linear TV. So I think that's a credit to our players and what they have done. The same with being in Mackey. You don't go in Mackey unless you can get 14,000 people, and we think we'll get 14,000 people. We think Boilermaker Nation will thrive in that environment. So. But I'm just happy that we're at this point, and a lot of people have done a lot of things to help us get here, and so hopefully we can pack Mackey and we can have another great season. And Holloway Gym's a great place to play, as John Cook knows, okay? It's one of the places he doesn't like to go to, and that's because it's tight and it's packed, and there aren't a lot of facilities for coaches to go to when they visit. So, but we're excited about it, and this should be a grand season for Purdue.
So aside from Holloway and Mackey, where do you guys like to visit the most to play in the Big Ten?
I love playing at Ohio State. They have a nice gym, and it's really intense in there when we're there. So I'd say Ohio State.
I haven't been everywhere yet. I'm still going to be a sophomore, but I really enjoyed Indiana last year just because it was a rivalry game, and it always is just so much fun. We blare their fight song and practices before to get us ready, which is super fun. And then I also like playing at Penn State's because their student section is right on top of you.
The trip, Dave, to Europe, can you talk about how that benefits the team from a connection perspective, but then also competitive? Was there more value in one or the other? And I'd also be interested in hearing from the players.
Yeah, I think for us on this trip, it benefited us more just pulling our team together. Even though we had a veteran group that was going over there, we added our 3 incoming freshmen, and I thought that was really important. We had a lot of fun. There were no problems. The only concern that we had was that we didn't get the schedule we thought we were going to get. We went over there. There were 3 teams in Turkey, professional teams that were going to be 3 of the best opponents we were going to play, and they weren't there when we got there. So we had to kind of makeshift our schedule together. But on the other hand, it allowed us to play everybody a lot of volleyball. All of our roster got a lot of minutes, so that was a positive. But I'm all about competing, to be honest with you, and so when we're going to spend that kind of money to go over there, we want to play good people, and we want to compete, and we want to see how good we are, and we didn't get that opportunity.
I really enjoyed the overseas trip personally. I think it gave us a great opportunity to get closer with a lot of the younger girls, like the new freshmen who didn't come early, and that was Sienna, so it was fun to get closer to her. But I think we just made a lot of memories, and when you're overseas, you don't have everything that goes on here, so it's really just all of us, volleyball, and just exploring, so that was really exciting.
Yeah, I agree. I was super happy to be down there with the team and felt like we bonded really well, and it helped us connect on the court, and I feel like we created a lot of chemistry down there, and I love how Sienna and Ryan and the other freshmen were allowed to come on the trip with us. I feel like that brought us a lot closer with them, so yeah.
Morning. I'm Chris with Fox Chicago. For both of the players, being a part of the growth of volleyball right now, what's that perspective like for both of you guys?
I'm just really excited and happy to be at Purdue because, I mean, I've been watching volleyball for a long time, and I grew up coming to these games, and just being able to play at Purdue now and seeing the kind of support we have, not just at Purdue, but everywhere in the Big Ten. Volleyball is just growing, and it's really fun to see, and it just makes all of us happy, and we just want to keep growing the sport.
Yeah, I agree. I'm happy to be at Purdue during this time and have this opportunity to experience volleyball growing and finally getting recognized, so I think it's pretty cool.
Chloe and Dave, what did you see last year from Grace Heaney, kind of the development classmate of yours? How did you kind of go through that freshman year with her? And Dave, what growth did you see through that campaign from Grace?
Well, I roomed with Grace over the summer, actually. We were in different dorms, but we were close together, so we were with each other all the time. But she's a lefty, which is really valuable on the right side, and she just developed so much. I mean, she's just very shotty, and she's very smart with where she puts the ball, and I think she gained some muscle and confidence in herself. And there was a part in the middle of the Big Ten where she was just thriving, and I think we're going to keep seeing that down the road.
Yeah, she's the epitome of a student athlete. You know, she's an engineering major and played a lot as a freshman. You know, she probably started most of the time in that opposite position, switching some time with Kenna Woolard. And, you know, she's had some physical issues here this spring, and we're hoping that, you know, she'll recuperate quickly from that. But she's a great learner. She's a great worker. She's everything that we look for when we recruit a player to come to Purdue. She fits Purdue to a T.
Let's go in the back.
Dave, you've been through realignment a couple times now with the Big Ten. How different is it this year with the 4 Western schools as opposed to the first time when Nebraska, Maryland came through? What kind of biggest differences stand out to you in realignment?
Just the name brand of UCLA, USC, Oregon, Washington, the success that they have already had. Obviously, Nebraska had great success too. And but the unknown, we just don't know those teams right now. And we're only going to play them one time. So how well you can prepare and put your scouting report together for those teams will be really, really important. But a lot of people have made a big deal about them being on the other side of the country and the travel. We're going to charter fly out there. It's going to be another, I don't know, maybe an hour longer than it might be going to some places. It's not a big deal. We're excited about it. The opportunity to play in Pauley Pavilion and some of those great venues that we've known about before. And I think our players will enjoy that. And it just makes our conference that much stronger. And that's what we're trying to do in the Big Ten, be the best.
Coach and student athletes, we have some students from Brunson Academy here in Chicago, 7th and 8th graders who are aspiring journalists. They'd love to ask you a few questions.
I'm Serenity Scott from Brunson Elementary, and for the players, I want to ask, who have you played against that you feel like gave you the most of a challenge?
I'd say everyone in the Big Ten is really hard. I mean, it's just hard to choose one game. I mean, even people who aren't at the top, we've lost to. I mean, it's just hard. Every night you go in, it's going to be a battle. But I'd say we lost to Oregon. We got swept by Oregon in the Sweet 16. So I think that was the one team that really kind of swept us and beat us down, but probably them.
Yeah, I feel like every team is good, so we just go in and step on the court, and we have to compete because everyone is coming to compete as hard as well as we are. So I think everyone's good.
My name is Duke, and I am from Bronson Elementary School. My question is, what inspired you to play volleyball?
I would say my mom. She's the one that introduced me to volleyball.
Yeah, I would say my mom too. She played in college, and she introduced me to volleyball too.
Dave, how excited are you to coach Allie, and what's the separation between Uncle Dave and Coach Shondell?
First of all, great questions by you guys. Tremendous job. I spent 23 years teaching elementary and middle school, and you guys have represented those levels very well. So thank you for being here. Appreciate you. We'll find out. Allie is my niece. It's John's daughter, and I've watched her grow up and play the game, and she's become great because of her work ethic. She just spent a tremendous amount of time in the gym, being one of the most highly recruited setters in the country in her class. Her expectations are high, which is good. They have to be if you're going to play in this league. But we have a really good relationship. She's a really neat kid, and I want her to outwork everybody in the gym. That's the only way she's going to be successful, is continue to do what she's been doing. But she delivers the ball great. She's a little bit undersized in the Big Ten. She's about 5'9", about your height, Allie?
She's a little taller.
A little taller than that? Okay. So I'm looking forward to it because she's a tremendous person, and we want as many of those in our gym as we can get.
My name is Jason Weston from Brunson Elementary. Question for the players: how did y'all feel in y'all first ever NCAA tournament game?
My first game was Fairfield last year, and I was a little bit nervous just because, if you lose, you're done. But it was super exciting, and just being able, they hang up like NCAA volleyball banners inside our gym, and it's a pretty big deal, so it's just fun to compete with your team in those moments.
Yeah, I was super excited to be able to go on the floor and compete with my team. So.
Dave, I'm curious, the two new rule changes, the two bro and the double touch, your perspective, your thoughts on those?
Well, the two Libro situation is one I haven't got figured out yet. Okay, I don't understand why we're doing it, for one thing. But we'll see how that works. I don't know we'll utilize that a whole lot. That's not in my plan to do that. There are some things we might be able to do to incorporate a really good server into that. So we certainly have given thought to it. I just don't know how it will actually play out. I've always been in favor of eliminating the inconsistency that we get, and that there's nothing, not bad-mouthing officials. It's impossible for you and me to see and determine the same call on a double hit violation. Nobody gains anything if the setter double hits the ball. It's not going to be a good set. It's like football quarterback throwing a ball and it wobbles out of his hand. They're not throwing a flag up in the air, okay, and stop and play. One of the things that the people that love volleyball like the most is rallies. Let the game continue to play out. And I think this will help that and allow officials to take the whistle out of their mouth a little bit more often, which I think is a good thing.
Dave, Lourdes, Chloe, thanks so much. We appreciate you being here. Good luck this season.
Thank you. Appreciate
Yep,
you guys. Thank you.